Welcome to Into the Night. I'm Nari, your guide on today's excursion down a twisted path. Be careful not to get lost. Be it dark or light, it's easy to lose your way. Are you ready? Then let's begin. The Opinion Poll, Part 1. Leland Cunningham looked out the window of his home in the Cumberland Gap area of Tennessee. The bright sun made the green grass and the leaves on the trees even more vibrant, and a gentle breeze off the mountain felt good as it blew through the screen, ruffling Leland's hair. It doesn't get any better than this. Breathing in the warm aroma of his neighbor's freshly cut hayfield, Leland felt content. He should. Life was good for him and everyone he knew. His family had a lovely roof over its head, his children were well-fed and carefree, and his business was thriving. I have a lot to be thankful for. I know it wasn't always this peaceful and prosperous, but we adapted, and America truly is the greatest place on earth. When he was a young boy, his grandfather told him stories of how the America of his childhood went through strife and hardship. His grandfather, Benjamin Atwood, was a young boy when the change happened, but he remembered it with clarity. Benjamin's parents never let him forget how ruthless and desperate conditions were in our past. Our country was almost destroyed from within, and lessons needed to be learned and remembered from the experience. They considered it part of the American birthright to keep democracy a treasured heirloom that passed from one generation to another. Our parents and great-grandparents believed that the wars fought overseas would be the worst part of our nation's history. It wasn't so. Benjamin's own grandfather, Clarence Bushwald, explained to him as they sat on the porch talking about life in the old days. People became so angry with one another, and our government reached such a standstill that basic services weren't provided. People became hungry and hopeless. Clarence stared out into a history the young boy had no way of remembering. He hugged his grandson. Ben, I'm glad it's different now. People hated politicians back then, and for good reason. Those no-good idiots only cared about themselves. After nearly dissolving into anarchy, we realized that a representative democracy didn't work. The politicians took care of themselves and not the people. We were tired of it, and we decided to scrap the old system and start anew. When Benjamin Atwood grew up, he passed his knowledge on to his son and grandson. As a young boy, Leland knew only the basic effects of the revolution. When he became a teenager and was old enough to understand, Grandpa Ben told him how Americans reclaimed their power from the corrupt system. Our country started with the best of intentions, it truly did. Beginning hundreds of years ago, in 1776, America took fierce pride in its democratic form of government. George Washington argued against the formation of political parties because he knew what would happen. He envisioned the hatred and the divide they would cause. He strongly believed in democracy itself, though. After centuries of monarchies and oligarchies, America gave the world a fresh breath of air. Instead of a ruler telling us what to do and how to serve him, in America, the people told the leaders what to do. Despite what Washington warned, though, we still insisted on creating political parties and drawing lines in the sand as a way to decide which ideas won and lost. For a while, our elected officials knew they worked for us, not the other way around. But over time, they became corrupt and self-serving. How did that change happen, Grandpa? I thought the politicians had all the control back then. How did people get their power back? It happened the old-fashioned way, Leland. Americans took up arms and stormed the halls of Congress. We kicked those bloodsuckers out, and then a group of people sat down and redid the way our government worked. We didn't want politicians to have any say in it, so we drew upon business owners and the like to come up with a plan. They were smart, innovative men who knew what they were doing. Leland lived his whole life under the new system, and he knew with certainty that nowhere else had as true a form of democracy as America. He stared out his window this fine June day and pondered what would have happened if the change hadn't come along. What if we still relied on political parties and politicians to make decisions for us? The world would have been chaotic. We'd have no peace or security. My family would be in danger, and I'd never be able to run a successful business of my own. The politicians would have sucked the lifeblood out of us. Grandpa Ben was right. The change needed to happen. Leland sipped his coffee and considered the disastrous effects of the political party system. In the background, a cable news channel ran a documentary about the ill-fated political system we'd languished under over 150 years earlier. How barbaric this country was then. I don't know how our ancestors survived.
Without the revolution, America wouldn't have had the success it has now. We'd no longer be the leading nation in the world. We'd certainly have fallen into the hands of lawless factions that hated freedom and the rights of the individual.
The narrator explained to the television audience. We are truly blessed. I'm fortunate to have my business so I can provide for my family in the way they deserve. I can't imagine living in a country where we, the people, had no control over the world. I bet capitalism nearly failed back then, and businessmen were a dying breed. Leland smiled when he thought about his business. In 10 years, he'd built it from the ground up, and he was proud of that fact. Cunningham Construction specialized in renovating old abandoned buildings. Repairing urban blight and giving new life to communities gave him a sense of satisfaction. He'd worked on everything from dilapidated houses in the inner city to condemned warehouses. His most recent contract was an old college campus. The structures must have been magnificent back when the school operated. I'm confident my crew will work its magic and return them to their grand state once more. Some projects are run-of-the-mill, but this one sparks my imagination, and the money is pretty nice too. Government contracts always pay better than the ones from corporations. Leland sipped his coffee and looked out at the lovely valley where he lived. The good life he enjoyed didn't happen overnight. Admittedly, starting a business took hard work and long hours, but it paid off. He could afford to provide his family with a cozy farmhouse on 60 acres of land. His children grew up knowing how to raise livestock and gather eggs from the henhouse. His wife could stay home and take care of the children while working a small business venture on the side. Leland's chest swelled just thinking about the life he and his wife Monica had created. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Into the Night Anthology podcast, written by Caroline Giammanco, narrated by Nari, theme music by Nico Rodriguez. You can find our links in the show notes. Into the Night is on your favorite podcatcher, so make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review to help other excursionists to join us. I'll see you next time, and remember, whether in the shadows or in the daylight, all twisted paths lead you into the night. Hi, excursionists. I'm so glad you stayed. If you ever wonder what I'm working on when I'm not here, you can find my current and past projects at narinarrates.com. That's also where you can sign up to be a story in my library, where every story somehow finds its way back home.